Hi, it's the Tiny One / Bishie, and I am super tired. Just recorded one video. I've got one more after this, and then I am going to take a rest. Anyways, and that's probably going to make no sense at all by the time you see this, because I'm going to be spacing these out, but whatever. I just started biting my tongue. Oh my god. That's how tired I am. So, this video is going to be stories for when I was a medical assistant. Yes, I was a medical assistant at a popular vocational school, you know, one of those 9-month training programs. It used to be one name when I attended, and then it became a different name because I think what it was is it was one name on the East Coast and one name on the West Coast, and they decided to make the names on the West Coast match the East Coast, you know, rather than having them split. So but that all happened after I graduated. I attended school in the Bay Area because that's where I lived at the time, and it was interesting, to say the least. I was, of course, the smallest in the class. I was also the most chronically ill, disabled in the class. I remember when it came time to do EKGs, I did not get to do one EKG on my own. Because my heart arrhythmia and my heart issues were so bizarre, the teacher and the teacher's assistant let me stay laying down on the table while other students hooked up the leads and got the EKG printouts from me, and I got credit for being the guinea pig. All I did was lay there all class, and I still got credit. In hindsight, that wasn't good, because then when I went into my externship, I had no idea how to do an EKG, and I felt stupid. Because the way I learn, I see, I hear, and I do. I have to do all three. Some people are just doers, some people are just listeners and they get it, and some people are just watchers. I have to do all three. But it was still an interesting experience. Also, something else that I learned. Normally when you, a regular person's, oh god, how do I say this without seeming weird? Normally when you take when you do vitals and you take someone's pulse, you take the pulse here, you know, the middle of the wrist. If you have a heart condition, specifically a heart murmur like I do, that's not where you take the pulse. The pulse is here on the neck, right here, or it is the side of the, you take it on the side, and it's hard to feel when it's moved in that area, but yeah, it was interesting when we were trying to do vitals on each other, and someone would try and do vitals on me, and the first person who tried to do vitals on me freaked out because they couldn't find my pulse. And, I mean, they were following the teacher's instructions just fine. It took the teacher being super confused until I said, I have a severe heart murmur. And then she was able to find where my pulse was. But yeah, that was interesting. And that was something that I never knew before. Let's see what else. Little pet peeve of mine. And I've done research on it. I've read up on it. And I know pregnant women are are worried about anything being put into their bodies that will harm their growing fetus, baby, whatever you want to call it. Saline, from what all that I've read and researched on, will not harm your baby. Especially if you do saline. If you're just doing a couple of injections, during a month's period, you'll be fine. Same with blood draws. What kind of got me was the fact that you would have these, and my medical assistant course was mainly 2 guys, me, and the rest are females, except for the teacher's assistant was a guy too. But you would have these girls who, they were afraid of needles, which is fine. But if you're afraid of needles, don't be a medical assistant. Don't be a nurse. Because you have to deal with needles and other sharp instruments. So these girls, and I found out later, they were just lying, would claim to be pregnant just so they can get out of getting injections and blood draws. But yet, they were allowed to do injections and blood draws on other people, and that's not okay. I mean, if you have a fear and you still want to get into this field, you have to get, or to get into the medical field, you need to get over that fear, or else find a different course, like medical billing or medical coding, if you still want to be in the medical field. Don't get into something that you're afraid to have done on yourself. And me, it was especially dangerous for me because of my health conditions, but because my health was way worse back then. But yet, I was the one who was getting the most injections and the most blood draws because I wanted to earn points, extra points. So if people need to catch up on injections or draws, I would say go for it. Unfortunately, that led to, there was one gal not paying attention. She drew my blood here, and I had a hematoma, which is basically like a big, nasty looking bruise because you messed up all around here for about 2 months. Yeah, because she rushed and wasn't paying attention just to get it over with. Don't do it. Something that was kind of hard for me were the trays. Basically, there are different trays that when you're in an operating room, you have either an operating room or a doctor's office. The doctor would say, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. Like, I had the hiccups now. Awesome. Like, let's say the doctor was going to do sutures. He was going to put sutures into a patient. And so, of course, you would need the gauze, the alcohol, and the sutures, all that. And you had to place everything that a doctor would need on the tray. And it had to be all correct. And with all my memory issues, that was probably one of the hardest to do. Because I had to remember exactly everything that was on the tray. And it's like, you had all these different charts that you had to memorize. And then when it came the day of the test, the teacher would just come up to you and say, prepare a such and such tray. And you had to prepare while she watched. And which is the added pressure of the teacher watching you. You couldn't like whisper to your friend, hey, what goes on this tray? That sort of stuff. but it was good to learn about the human body, how it works, taking vitals, listening to the heart. That was the other thing. Listening to my heart through a stethoscope terrified the others, whoever I got partnered with for vitals. I personally think it's kind of neat to listen to my heart. I actually bought a stethoscope of my own just to listen to it, because you hear like the whoosh of the blood and the blood vessels with the flap of the patch that's over the hole in my heart. It's really interesting, but to someone who doesn't know me, it's terrifying to listen to, but this is like my normal, you know, to have my heart be beating like it should, and then it'll speed up, it'll slow down, it'll stop for a beat, you know, it flutters, it does all sorts of weird stuff, and that's just my normal. It's what I'm used to. That's all the stories I have for today. But if you want me to try and remember some more medical assisting stories from class, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, stay happy, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.